You're tuned in to Get Right Fantasy.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, friends? Daniel Dopp here from the Fantasy Focused Football Podcast over on ESPN.
It's Fabs here, Michael Fabiano from Sports Illustrated.
You know who you can trust if you've got some questions about your fantasy squad?
Want to check out a cool show on YouTube that'll help you get ready for the fantasy football season?
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network. If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Head on over to YouTube. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network because they're doing everything they can to make you a better fantasy player.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You're tuned in to Get Right Fantasy.
What up? What up? What up, world? This is FishnFrank here with Get Right Fantasy Network. Welcome back again for another Monday night overreaction show. Let's get the waiver wires in. Congrats. If you're watching this show, you must be in the playoffs. You're no longer interested. Most of the people are dropped off and not watching anymore, and I can't blame them. If you're not in contention, what are you doing on the waiver wire anyways, right? So let's take a look what we got going on tonight. What a great ending to this Monday night game, going into overtime. I mean, Jalen Hurts just not giving me enough points. I barely got over the line here. Playing our boy Rasta in one of our home leagues, just trying to get a win. Quite honestly, in that league, I'm doing first and second place in most of my leagues, except for this league. And this league, oh my God, I'm just trying to stay out of last place. And I don't want to do the last place punishment. So I'm just squeaked out a win right now against Rasta, 71-69. Jalen Hurts got me 0.4 points. His Patrick Mahomes only got him 5.3 points, which I'll get to in a moment because Patrick Mahomes is, they're not making the playoffs this year. First time since Mahomes been playing, in the NFL that he's not making the playoffs. Pretty crazy. I mean, I guess there's still an off chance that they could make it, but I mean, pretty much out of there. So yeah, that's some overreaction going on here. I hope you guys are, winning your leagues or in your playoff contentions, and that's why you're joining me tonight. Let me know if you have any questions. Throw them up here in the chat. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we got going on here. Again, great game tonight. Eagles, Chargers going into overtime. Hopefully you guys got the wins. I got some wins in here. Some of that hurt me because I do have a lot of shares of Jalen Hurts, especially in some of my keeper leagues and dynasty leagues and things like that. But for the most part, I got my wins in this week. I'm good. Even if I didn't get the win, I was already locked in for the playoffs. So it really didn't matter to me if I won or lost this last game, but I did put in the good lineups as much as I can on most of my teams. It did hurt to have like McCaffrey out this week and things like that, which I'm sure some of you guys have had that. I've heard other teams are starting their playoffs this week, and they had guys like McCaffrey out, which doesn't make any sense. Which brings me to the next thing is this is the last week of any buys. No more buys going forward. So thank God we're finally going into the fantasy playoffs and don't have to worry about bye weeks going forward because that would suck. The NFL finally got a little bit of that right. So let's take a look at what we got, Thank you for joining me tonight. Again, this is Get Right Fantasy Network. If you don't know what we do waiver wire shows here tonight, Overreaction-Waiver Wire. On Tuesdays, we got Phil Ruskin with the extra point. On Friday, we got our show with our sit-start special. And maybe I should put in our banner here, some media. I'm getting all excited here. I'm not doing the Wednesday shows for the roster trade management. We're past the roster trade show and trade deadline. And quite honestly, I just need somebody else on there to, just have some banter to play off of. So if you guys, anybody that's interested in writing or getting on the show here with us, please let us know. We're always looking for some new talent. On Sunday mornings, Fridays, again, the sit start show. And Sunday mornings, we've got Mike is holding it down with the actives, inactives, and maybe sometimes some daily fantasy advice. So that's our weekly lineup. So come join us here. We always got shows coming out every week. Let me know what you guys think about this week 14. I'll get into the injury news and notes here, do some overreactions here. We'll get into the top 5 waiver wire ads, guys, for the week 15. And of course, always some live Q&A. If you guys are so inclined, we do offer super chats. So if you guys want to help us out and support the channel, by all means, throw a super chat on there, and we'll definitely take the time to read your question and give you the most concise and in-depth answer that I have available here. Please also be sure to include your league size, your type of scoring, if it's a standard half-point PPR or full-point PPR, so we give you the best answer. That really helps to phrase the question properly. So it's time to roll your sleeves up and get your lineups ready for week 15 here. Basically, let's take a look at what we got here. As I mentioned, no more bye weeks this season. Week 14 was the last bye weeks here. So yeah, now, we want to talk about some overreaction items here. What are we talking about here? So we got, can you trust Mahomes and the Chiefs into the playoffs? I mean, they're now out. I mean, the Texans really put a spanking to them. Pretty crazy. I mean, they held the Chiefs down. So did the Cowboys. They got 2 losses in a row. So, I mean, I wouldn't overreact on that because Patrick Mahomes is Mahomes, and they're still capable of putting some high elite performances and some high numbers there. But it is scary. You got to take a look at the rest of their lineups and who they got going on. But they're not must starts. It's just kind of tough sledding for them. I mean, you got to keep an eye on that kind of stuff. But it's kind of crazy. So that's an overreaction note number 1. Christian Watson is locked in a number 1 wide receiver, a WR1 for the Packers. He had another multi-touchdown game, solidifying his role as Jordan Love's top target. He is doing that. I hope you guys picked him up when we mentioned it. We had him come back from injury and just getting acquainted. But yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to be the top guy because, Jordan Love does seem to pass it around. He just happened to be the hot hand at this time right now. But let's take a look at the usage going forward. Make sure he connects with the quarterback properly. Sorry, my glasses are bothering me, so I had to take those things off. You got the consistent high value over there. So, take a look at Christian Watson if you're able to get him. If he's not, sorry, maybe it's too late for him to be available in your leagues here. Now, the Rams backfield can support 2 star running backs, Kyren Williams and Blake Corum. Last week, I did mention Blake Corum as a waiver wire ad. I didn't have him as my top 5 because of Kyren Williams, but it looks like they're probably doing the running back by committee over there at the Rams. So now it seems like you could probably safely start either one of them. I mean, it's going to be a WR2 numbers now going running back 2 numbers going forward. But at the same time, if they score you the touchdown, maybe you could get a good, decent week out of them. So at least they're, flex options and running back 2 options for you out of the backfield there for the Rams. So, Kyren Williams, Blake Corum is a waiver wire ad this week. He's still pretty widely available. Now, Devontae Chain's injury is a season killer. I'm not sure yet. He does have a rib injury. Jalen Wright, the backup, did come in and put in some huge numbers in his place. So the initial overreaction was Achane is no longer a viable play option, but it's too early to tell that. We got to take a look at his rib injury and see if he's serious enough for prolonged absence. But it does look like the injury is not a broken rib or something like that. It's not that bad, but it's still a good time to lock in Jalen Wright as a, locked in backup, handcuff the guy right now, especially if you're the Achane owner. You should definitely be picking him up so you can have Jalen Wright to just plug and play right in after them. You can see the numbers they put up. I'll get to it in a second. So take a look at that guy as well. Shadur Sanders is a must-start quarterback. I can't believe I'm saying that this early. I didn't even think he would get a start this year over at the Browns, but I mean, the guy did show up. He had his breakout game this week with 4 total touchdowns. He had went 3 in the air, 1 rushing touchdown. So it's a must start. I don't know if he's a must start, but if you're hurting and you had some guy go down like Daniel Jones, this week. You definitely need a quarterback to start up. I'll get to the injuries here in a second. He's going to be one of the guys that's also on the waiver wire. Now, Josh Allen's struggles are over after back-to-back disappointing performances. Allen delivered a monster game in the snow against the Bengals. Fantasy managers are quick to show that he's back to his elite form, which might be an overreaction depending on upcoming matchups. So you got to take a look at what he's got coming up. But, I mean, we're going to be steady Eddie on Josh Allen and keep starting him every week. It's just unfortunate that people do have off weeks and things happen like that. But, we'll keep rolling along in those cases because he is a much start quarterback here. So let's take a look at what we got as far as injuries coming up here, news and notes. Again, let me know if you got any questions, guys. Throw them in the chat. I'll get to them as soon as I can. We'll, talk about them things. Let's get some chats going here. Let's see what we got going on here. So as far as running backs are concerned, Devon Achane, as I just mentioned, ribs. The stats, Achane exited Sunday's game with a rib injury, but Coach Mike McDaniel indicated the precaution that he could have returned in an emergency. Again, x-rays were negative for the fractures, and the status for week 15 will be managed during practices this week, but he expects to play. But again, you want to go handcuff Jalen Wright. He did have a good performance in his absence, 107 rushing yards, and he basically would be immediate plug and play if Achane loses any time. So I would definitely just go handcuff Jalen Wright if you don't already have him. Widely available in the leagues. We got Keaton Mitchell here. Baltimore, he's got a knee issue here. He's ruled out for Sunday's game against the Steelers. Basically, it just gives all the touches for King Henry there. Not much there. We got Daniel Jones, as I mentioned, in the quarterback news. He tore his Achilles, non-contact injury. I mean, he was just running back, and next year he popped that Achilles. It kind of tough. Give me 1 second. So, you got to look at him. It is season injury. It's not like we have many games left, but he's not going to be able to come back that short of notice. We're going to take a look at the backups that he has available. Even the backup that he has is day-to-day. Not many. I'm not looking at picking up any guys on the Colts backups per se, but, I mean, if you have to, you've got to. Jaden Daniels got the elbow injury. Re-aggravated. He had previously left with the injury and did not return the game. His availability for week 15 is uncertain. So we got to take a look at his backup here as well, see if he's available and what he's going to be able to do. So, it's basically downgrading Washington's offensive outlook. And I did have Terry McLaurin come back in, but it's just not looking good for him with Jaden Daniels out. But let's take a look at what his backup can do. Marcus Mariota, I believe. We got Geno Smith here with shoulder. He left the game with the injury, and the initial test did not show any major damage. Again, it puts the status for week 15 questionable, and Aiden O'Connell will likely take over if Smith cannot play. Also, we got Tyrod Taylor with the New York Jets groin status. Tyrod exited the game early in the first quarter with a groin injury and did not return. Jets offense is the flex at quarterback, which negatively impacts all Jets pass catchers. Not like that we were having too many on our roster. I mean, I still had Garrett Wilson. It's Garrett Wilson that I have on IR, just like not even coming back. The guy, I had him for one game and just did me dirty. So not too much going on over there with the Jets. Wide receivers, had CeeDee Lamb exited the game with a concussion, going up for a one-handed touchdown catch there for the Cowboys, but he just came down hard, bounced his head off the bat there. So he did end up in the concussion protocol. Didn't help out the Cowboys. I mean, he was going off that game. He already had 100-plus yards in that game, but once he had the concussion, that was that. So, you got to keep an eye out. Maybe Leonard Flournoy over there, who did catch the touchdown. Maybe he's the guy to keep looking at here for the wide receivers. We got other better options here. Marvin Harrison Jr. Also the heel. He's inactive due to 14 for the heel injury, and Michael Wilson did step up to the plate, teared it up. I mean, that guy's a must start. Anytime that Marvin Harrison Jr. is out, he should actually be much better than that when he comes back, but I'm not sure why they don't target him more. Trey McBride also saw some increased targets in his absence, so keep an eye on those guys. As far as tight ends, Zach Ertz, knee. He suffered a knee injury and he basically tore his ACL. So he's out for the season. Tough breaks over there for Washington as well. He got two of the top players out. So I'll mention some of the guys for knee injuries, tight ends that we need to pick up, as well as David Njoku. Also got a knee injury, did not return to the game after Sunday, which Harold Fanning Jr. just took off for the rest of the game. Anytime Njoku's out, Harold Fanning Jr. does well. He's basically a must start if David Njoku's out. So let me know if you guys have any comments on that, questions on the injuries and what we got going on here. I want to pay some bills real quick, and give a shout out to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, best place to do play some fantasy best ball games and or the pick'em contest. Their currently promo is going to be a play 5 get $75, where you could enjoy pick'em contests. You simply pick higher or lower on their player stats, like total yards and total touchdowns, and you could stack these up and get multiple times on it, and you can win up to 5,000 times on your money right now. So play 5 get 5. Use promo code GETRIGHT. So please sign up. Use our promo code. Support the channel here. I know there's many other channels to choose from, but we're a small channel, man. We can definitely use your support. So please help us out on that front. So yeah, moving forward here, let's take a look. We'll get into the waiver wire ads, as you guys all been wanting to check it out. Let's take a look at the top waiver wire ads for quarterbacks. Currently, as I mentioned, Shedeur Sanders, Cleveland, 23 of 42, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT, 1 rushing touchdown versus Tennessee. He's only about 8% owned on average. Widely available, definitely worth picking up, especially if you had Daniel Jones go out. There's some other quarterbacks that are injured here, like Geno Smith, that's injured as well. Tyler Taylor, Jaden Daniels. You got some of these guys go down. Shedeur Sanders is somebody to take a look at. Not the greatest, but I mean, hey, if he's putting up 3 touchdowns, 1 INT, and 1 rushing touchdown with 364 yards, you got to give him a shot. We also have Riley Leonard. That's the backup there for Indianapolis. But again, the Colts, he's considered week to week with being described as a strained knee ligament. So I'm not sure if he's going to get the start over there. Actually got to take a look at, give me a second. I want to pull up the depth charts here and see who else they have over there for the Colts. But I mean, things that are not looking good. That's somebody I want to be picking up and pulling into the lineup. But I mean, if you're desperate and that's what you have left in your league, and maybe you got a 2 QB league and things like that, because I know Anthony Richardson still has an eye injury. He's not playing. And Brett Rippon be the last guy there. I'm not sure if they're going to call in and talk to the GOAT there and bring him back, get Tom Brady playing again or something. But they need somebody over there. I'm not sure who they're going to be able to pick up for Indianapolis Colts. And they were doing so well. It's hard to see them go down like that. But it really hurts the Alec Pierce and Michael, his counterpart. I can't think of his last name right now. But I do have him on my teams, and he's playing pretty well this season. It's tough to see them go down and just take those injuries. So hopefully they come back here after those injuries with a better quarterback. Another waiver wire pickup is Tyler Shoon, New Orleans quarterback there, 13 of 20 for 144 yards. Didn't score a touchdown. I mean, he had passing, but he did have 2 rushing touchdowns, including 1 INT. He's only about 8% owned. I took a look at a little piece of that game. They had an upset going on over there for New Orleans. I forgot who they beat, but it was a really good game. And the guy's putting up some decent numbers over there, as well as Devin Neal, the rookie running back who's taking the place of Kamara there, which I'll get to in a moment. So, yeah, another option there. Last one, we also got J.J. McCarthy there. Finally putting up a good game there, 16 to 23, 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. Albeit he has not had very good outings lately. Again, it's a tough spot. If you need to get somebody pick up, that's who you want to take a look at. Only about 8% owned, so very widely available. And again, lastly, Marcus Mariota there. He completed 2 of 4 passes for 30 yards, and the Commanders, again, 31-0 shutout loss to the Vikings. So he also ran twice for 7 yards. Not much to talk about here, but he is somebody who's going to get the start next week here. with only about 11% owned there on that point. So widely available as well. So we got to take a look at these guys with Riley Leonard, possibly getting the start over there with the Colts. Definitely Shedeur Sanders is the top ad for this week with the massive 4-touchdown game there. And he's got a pretty decent matchup against the Chicago Bears coming up this week, week 15. So he's definitely the better shot of all these quarterbacks out here. Tyler Show as well. He's doing very, very well. 2 rushing touchdowns in week 14. So you want to take a look at him. Upcoming schedule is going to be Carolina, New York Jets, and Tennessee. So it's not a bad schedule other than Carolina. Carolina's pretty tough. But the Jets and Tennessee, he might be doable. JJ McCarthy, as we mentioned, he's facing the Cowboys next week in week 15 on the Sunday night football slate. So it should be a primetime game for that. And lastly, we got Marcus Mariota again. And he's averaging nearly 20 fantasy points as a starter in weeks 10 to 13. So let's see what he does here while Jaden Daniels out and misses some time with that elbow injury. Those are the top quarterbacks there for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. If there's anybody that you think we missed, but I think that's covering them up pretty well. Nobody's, it's late in the season, man. If you got somebody go down like that, it's tough to recover. So hopefully you guys get, maybe some Shedeur Sanders able to pick him up and plug and play him and see what happens. As far as running backs concerned, we mentioned Jalen Wright as a handcuff to Achane due to his rib injury. Who knows? They may give him a lighter workload this next week to help protect him for the playoff runs. Or the end of the season, he ended up with 24 rushing attempts, 107 yards, and 1 touchdown. So not bad numbers there for Jalen Wright while Achane went down. So you got to keep an eye on him. At least pick him up as a handcuff because right now he is the top waiver ad for the running backs, especially for the Achane owners to handcuff him. Next, we have a Blake Corum. He's been getting some consistent involvement in the red zone, making him a valuable flex option, even if Kyren Williams is healthy. He's getting 12 rushing touchdowns, 12 rushing attempts for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. So even with Kyren Williams in, he's definitely somebody to take a look at. I did mention him more last week because of Kyren Williams' involvement this week, but now that we see some timeshare happening there and he's getting some decent production as well as those gold line touches, you could still flex play Blake Corum or run him as an RB2 if necessary. Chris Rodriguez here for the Washington Commanders there. His role is a solid primary back in the Washington. It's favorable schedule, making him a decent touchdown-dependent flex play. Last week, he ended up going for 10 for 52. But obviously, they lost their quarterbacks. That man lean on the running game a little bit more. And again, not a bad setup for the last remaining games here. So you want to take a look at him as well. Another guy that we want to take a look at is Bam Knight. His involvement depends on Trey Benson coming back. If Trey Benson still remains out, Knight is the decent ad. He did struggle this last week, and he's touchdown dependent. So you want to take a look at him with a grain of salt. And again, a flex play and again desperation play that if you don't have nobody else, you got to put in a warm body. Bam Knight's a guy. 7 to 16 for rushing attempts. With 3 of 16 for 3 of 18 for receiving there. So it's not too bad, but he did come off a down game, a total of 98 yards and a touchdown in week 13. So this is not one of his best outings. And again, it also depends on Trey Benson's health if you want to take a look at him. Devin Singletary here, also value dependent on Tyron Tracy, another guy that's just, biding some time if the starter's out. In this case, Tyron Tracy is the backup too. He's the number 2, and this is the number 3 here. He went 12 of 68 for 1 touchdown, 3 for 34 receiving. And in the last week here, Giants were in the bye in week 14, so we got to take a look at what he's going to do coming up this next week 15. If Tyron Tracy's still out, Devin Singletary will get the start, so you want to take a look at him as well. Let's see. Last guys we got going on here for wide receivers. We got Adonai Mitchell with the New York Jets, 7 to 4 for 45 yards. Only about 13% owned. And that was against the Miami Dolphins here. So we got to take a look at him. We've mentioned him a couple of times, but it's only 13% owned. Jaden Higgins here for Houston. He had a pretty decent week here coming up. I got to look up his numbers because his numbers did not come up right. He only bought 35% owned. Give me 1 second here. Let me get Jaden Higgins' numbers up for you guys. Wide receiver here. My bad here. He got 3 of 5 targets with 34 yards. Oh, so those numbers are right that I have on my sheet here. Because he's got 7+ targets in the last 3 or 4 games. And, pretty good matchups coming up. 35% owned there for Houston. He does seem to get a lot of targets. So the monster pickup, I think, would be Michael Wilson here. Again, if MHJ is out, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson had a monster game. But I think he might be too widely owned now. I got to look at his numbers over here. On the one that I have here in this sheet, it's only showing about 40% owned. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find his other ownership percentages to see if he's still widely available. Arizona quarterback. Yeah, he's 84% on Yahoo, 77% on ESPN. Pretty tough to find him. 11 to 16 targets, 142 yards, and 2 touchdowns this last week in the loss to the Rams. So probably not too easy to find Michael Wilson, but did have a good numbers coming up. Isaac Tesla is widely available. He only had about 6% owned. Tesla did have a nice week there against the Cowboys there. And I'm looking to probably pick him up. He's definitely a wide receiver 3 option, more of a flex option. He's only 12% owned on Yahoo, 8% owned on ESPN. He got both of his targets for 35 yards and 1 touchdown, so definitely touchdown dependent. Kind of one of those flex play options. We were looking to play him if Amon-Ra stayed out, but Amon-Ra did play the game, although Isaac Tesla did get some looks there in the game. He did get his touchdown. So some guys I know they might have left them in. They probably got saved on their week because of the touchdown they did get. Last but not least, we got Luther Burden here. He's got 5+ target in the 4 straight games. So again, another low-end flex play there for the Chicago Bears there. I got him in leagues, but he's not really a great start. But if you got to put somebody in, you got to have somebody there. You got some numbers from this guy. He's got hauled in 4 of his team high 6 targets of 67 yards. So that's a team high target share there for the Chicago Bears. Albeit, not much production, but if he keeps going like that going forward, he could be, get some better numbers. Who's he got coming up next? He's got Cleveland, which is pretty tough defense again. Green Bay again, and just like 1 week apart, and that's where he had that 4 to 6 for 67. Last game he was 4 to 6 for 33. So not high numbers, but he's getting some, just some low fantasy production here. Again, not the highest guy to go get, but he's the last guy on the waiver wire options for wide receivers there. Let me see if we got any other options here. Darius Slayton maybe for New York Giants. Kayshon Boutte here for New England. Not much out there as far as guys available. Ryan Fleury there for the Dallas Cowboys again. If CD's out, he's an option to pick up because he might get some looks. Just a second there. Let me close this window here. So yeah, keep a look at those guys. The last guys, but not least, is the tight ends here that we have available. As far as tight ends concerned, we got Brenton Strange here, 32.5% owned. My numbers did not come up in my sheet here. He didn't have the greatest weeks. I am starting him this week. I did get some decent numbers for him, so I was happy he was performing here. Grabbed 3 of 6 targets for 27 yards. Better days ahead for him. He just had a touchdown these last 2 weeks, so he had again a down game here. But he's got the Jets coming up, then Denver, Indy, and then Indy for the playoffs here. Then Tennessee, and so Indy's going to be hurt. The Jets are down, but a tough game on Week 16 with Denver. But I'd start him against the Jets and Indianapolis there. He's been having 9.3, 10.5, then this last week only 2.7, but still flex play and worthy to start here coming up for tight ends. Colston Loveland, only 41.4% owned. leveling over there for the Chicago Bears. The rookie still putting up some decent numbers up here towards the end. There's not many guys out there to be picking up. So we got to, get what we get, take what we can get. 4 or 5 targets for 29 yards and a touchdown there for Chicago. What do we got here for the matchups coming up? Give me a second here. And we got Cleveland coming up again, Green Bay. So they got that Green Bay back-to-back game almost. It's kind of tough, man. So let's see if he could get some good numbers going. Harold Fanning Jr., I think I'm really, really liking this guy. We've been mentioning him a couple of times here on the show. He's been on the waiver wire a number of times, 35% owned. Harold Fanning did have a really nice game as soon as Njoku went out. He was getting all the targets and looks. He ended up the day with 3 of 5 targets, 43 yards, and a touchdown. So, Harold Fanning Jr. going forward there with Shedeur Sanders would be a nice play. Darren Waller, another guy here, 30% owned. Waller's putting up some decent numbers over there for New Orleans. Miami. He used to be for New Orleans. Yeah, just get some comeback numbers. Caught one of his 3 targets for 13 yards. It's really low play. Hopefully he does better in the next week. He had some decent weeks when he first came back, where he had 2 touchdowns, then 1 touchdown, then still had a 3rd touchdown in the first 3 weeks back, but he hasn't scored a touchdown since. He's coming up against Pittsburgh, then Cincinnati, then Tampa Bay. So it's going to be tough to trust him. But, if you're looking for a warm body, that's one guy to have. And then lastly is Theo Johnson. Had a bye week last week, so he's only 49% owned. Hopefully he, gets some better numbers going forward. Let's take a look at his last production here. For Theo Johnson there for the New York Giants. Going to be a tough sledding here as well for him. We got matchups here with Washington Commanders, Minnesota, and then Las Vegas. So pretty easy schedule remaining. So he's one of the guys to take a look at. Again, if you don't have nobody else and there's a guy that available, he might be an option for you. So yeah, you guys don't got no chat going on. You guys got to be in the playoffs. Again, congrats for making the playoffs. Kind of went over all these guys here. Let me know if you have any questions on that. I do want to bring up Trophy Smack. There's another sponsor here for the show. They do sell, all kinds of gear. And at this time of year, it's a good time to bring them up because they got the rings that you need to get. They got the belts. And it's a good time, you can just add $7 to $8 there, $10 to your league, and you get some nice belts and some trophies there. It's an excellent time to go pick them up and get some products in there for your league mates and be able to show off your swag. So check out TrophySmack.com. Use the promo code GetRight. Support the channel here. Nobody's really commenting today. Everybody's really quiet. I'm glad that you joined me here today. Just kind of recap the players here real quick. As far as QBs is concerned, we're looking at Shedeur Sanders and Tyler Show, I think, and JJ McCarthy, probably the top 3 guys to pick up. As far as the running backs is concerned, you want to handcuff Jalen Wright in case A-Chain's out. Blake Corum's flex play. There was Chicago, Chris Rodriguez with the Washington Commanders. Basically getting all the touches, and Bam Knight in Arizona if Trey Benson stays out. Devin Singletary again if Tyrone Tracy's out. Those are the wide receivers, the running backs. Wide receivers, we got Adonai Mitchell, Jaden Higgins, and Michael Wilson. The Michael Wilson definitely probably the number 1 ad as long as Marvin Harrison Jr. is out. And last but not least, we got Brenton Strange, Colston Leveland, and Harold Fanning Jr. I would take Harold Fanning Jr. as my number 1 waiver ad for this week. So on that note, appreciate you guys checking it out and coming here with Get Right Fantasy Network. Join us next week. I'll be here again, till the end of the season. We'll see what waiver wires we got coming up. Congratulations again for being in the playoffs. Let me know if you guys have any comments, questions in the future. Please join me in the chats. Peace out.